Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Type 5 Heavy. It's the Tier 10 Japanese heavy tank. It's located on the southwest spawn of Karelia, and this one is under the command of marke12. Well, this tank has been heavily nerfed twice actually, not just the gun has been nerfed, but also the HE since recently. Makes it very difficult to get wins in this thing. Game started. Well, I should say that the Type 2605, which is the actual real name of this vehicle, was a variant of the OI. The Japanese were building super heavy tanks, and they started with the OI, but they never got around to manufacturing them en masse, mainly because most of the quality steel actually ended up in the hands of the Japanese Navy. Or rather, I should say the Imperial Japanese Navy, because Japan was more concerned about having a good navy than it was about having good tanks. And most of the terrains that the Japanese fought over were jungle terrain, and of course tanks don't get on well in jungles. So the Japanese were quite happy to have small tanks to deal with infantry and gun emplacements, and then they thought about designing super heavies like this to deal with fortifications. And of course you can always deal with fortifications with enough artillery. The Type 5 Heavy has a selection of guns, a 14cm gun which is not very good, and the 152mm gun which is the top gun in this one. And let's see which gun he's got. Well, he's got the 152, it's capable of 680 alpha, penetrating 252mm of armour. Now, it used to be this tank was the top dog, because for a long time you can actually do something like or fire around at the enemy and get over 1,000 hit points of damage if you get a pen, and even if you didn't get a pen you'd still get something like 500 hit points. So it was almost in many ways like artillery, the amount of damage it could do. You can see the reload time, it's actually 16.4 for the gun by the book, 16.16 seconds without, or with a good crew and with a rammer. I'm not sure if he's got a rammer, but I do know that he's using premium consumables and he's got the alternate configuration, and the reason for doing that is down to the fact that there is a very prominent ammo rack on this vehicle on the side, and it is possible to set that off. There are some weak spots on the cheeks of the tank, those flat plates at an angle, and that's why you should angle in this tank if you can. Well, he's taking hits from the enemy, but look at that, it just takes out the 279E by blasting him out of existence. Yeah, this is the sort of tank that this is. He has lost some hit points, but not much. And it has got the second highest hit point pool in the game. Well, he tried to pull back, but the Centurion fired around into him. Now, yeah, he did try to get around into the Centurion. He was a bit late on getting it dialed in before he shot. There's two tanks behind that rock, a 50 TP and the Centurion. They're very well concealed to avoid being spotted, and the enemy is capping. Yeah, a large contingent of enemy tanks has made their way down to the south. They're actually capping at our cap at the moment. In fact, it's now beginning to look like they're going to lose this game because there's 6 tanks behind the enemy. So I think that Marky's just going to go hell for leather now to try and win the game as quickly as he can. And there goes the Emil. Just one huge amount of HE set off alongside the tank, and he's out the game. Now the battle's still ongoing because there are some tanks back at our cap area to stop them capping. There goes the 50 TP, that's his third kill. So it's not completely over, but he's just got hit by the enemy Arty. It's the 212A, and there's a Gorilla 15 somewhere up north. Now he can probably penetrate marke12. There he is. Hello, Mr. Gorilla. Goodbye. Yep, one shot, 843 hit points. It's particularly deadly to enemy vehicles like that. And remember, the alpha on this shell is actually 600. but he got a high roll and wiped the guy out completely. Now he's telling the Wizzy 111-15A to not to go ahead and try and attack the enemy cap area, because of course you've got to remember the enemy actually does have a number of tanks behind us, and they might start capping at our end, which will cause us problems because they can get two in the cap very quickly. And remember, this vehicle is not fast. 25 kilometers an hour forward, 15 in reverse, so it's going to be an ask for us to get back. And oh, he just takes out a 277 with a shot into the side. Lovely shot though, beautiful shot. Now we've lost the TNHT Viz 51, and it's just us and the Wizzy 111-5A who's going to the enemy cap. Now it's a bad move, as I said, because all it will do is encourage the enemy to go and cap themselves, and that could end up with us losing the game. Well, Marky's got 5 kills so far, and he's about to be outflanked by a whole bunch of enemy tanks. One of them's just died. The T55A has gone to meet his maker in the sky, and now he's going to have to take on the Object 430 and the UDES and just about everyone together. But I'm sure he's going to take out the Object 430 first. Hello, goodbye. Yep, you're gone, and that's the number 500. He's using the wreck behind him to cover him against the UDES for the moment, but it's not good enough. And if that Wizzy 111 Model 5A had actually been paying attention and come to help, then they may have been able to fend off the enemy. It's down to just 4 in the enemy team against 1 Wizzy. And I don't think this Wizzy's going to survive very long, because he doesn't have much in the way of hit points. And there's, well, you can see 2,023 hit points on the enemy team. Yeah, I don't think he's going to survive this one. He does get around into the UDES 16, but I suspect that the enemy will try to outflank him, despite the fact that the cap is proceeding, and he's getting close to the cap finishing. If the enemy doesn't muck this, if they muck it up, then he could win. Oh my god, he's going to win! The enemy mucked it up. The UDES didn't get the kill shot or the reset, and it's a win. Well, that was a very surprising result for the battle. Marky did the best in the game. He got a first-class tanker in the Type 5 Heavy. He also picked up a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 6. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. And he got a top gun because he actually managed to get 7 kills. Not 6, 7. He was 1 short of getting a Radley's, and he might have been able to get it if the Wizzy 111 Model 5A had actually helped him. But the Wizzy was more interested in capping. It did turn out that that was the correct result in the end. He did manage to cap, but only by virtue of the fact that the enemy made a huge mistake by not coming up to try and attack him mob-handed. If they had, then he wouldn't have been able to fend off that UDES, and they would have got the reset they needed to win the game. So let's have a look at team score and see where this ended. Well, the highest damage in the game was actually done by that Wizzy 111 Model 5A. He got 7,348 hit points, and he got a high caliber and invader. The second highest damage in the game went to the TVP T5051 on the enemy team with 3,491, and he was still alive at the end, so he could have got a reset, but I think he was sitting up on the horseshoe trying to spot the Wizzy from a long range away, and it just didn't work. He couldn't see him. And the third highest damage in the game was the 50 TP on the enemy team with 3,413. Then it's marke12. He got 3,373. And when it came to kills, he's top dog with 7 kills. 3 kills went to the Wizzy 111 Model 5A. Also to the IS-32, who was also alive at the end of the game. Their UDES 16, who got wiped out. So 3 players had 3 kills. And there's a whole bunch of tanks with 2 kills each. When it came to base XP, it was the Wizzy who came out on top, mainly because of the amount of damage he did during the game. 1,249 went to him on base. 1,066 went to marke12, and those were the only 2 who managed to get over 1,000. And let's have a look at detail. 10 shots fired, 8 direct hits on the enemy, 8 penetrations. He did damage of 3,373 hit points, of which 1,167 were at more than 300 meters. So only one really long range shot, but it was a very good shot. 19 hits received from the enemy, only 7 of which actually penetrated. But because this tank's got very high hit pool, it actually can survive even taking shots which do damage. 12 non-penetrations and 1 hit by way of splash damage as well. Yes, he did get hit by the 212A. 4,220 hit points of damage blocked by armor, 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 7 killed, and 1,692 hit points of damage assistance during the game. He earned 37,526 credits from the game, 50,000 for completing the first win of the day, first mission of the day, and after repair, ammunition, respawn, consumables, he actually made a profit of 52,823 credits, and he did fire standard ammo. I think it was HE throughout on that one. 1,066 XP times 2 for the first victory, 3,198 experience points altogether. It used to be that just about everyone who was playing tier 10 games was either playing a Type 5 Heavy or they were playing something similar, because obviously it was so nice to have that big derp ability and to knock out enemy tanks, or at least do 1,000 hit points of damage very easily, and have considerable armor as well. You can have tanks which do a lot of damage, such as the Death Star, such as the Heshbarn. Those tanks are capable of doing a derp, well, with a Hesh round from a long way away and almost stripping a tank of its hit points. This thing would do it up close and personal and just literally drive around the corner and blast somebody out of existence. So it's an interesting tank, but unfortunately it's been heavily nerfed. Wargaming reacted to the fact that people were saying, yeah, it's always the same story. Type 5 heavies come and meet each other and blast away until one of them dies, and if it meets anything else, they don't get a look in. So Wargaming nerfed the Type 5 Heavy. They made it less powerful, and then of course they nerfed HE, which made it even worse. But you can still see that it is possible to get good wins for marke12 in the Type 5 Heavy. And we've got another battle coming up very shortly in another game. If you want to have a look at that one, please to give this a channel subscribe. Leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And please do, yes, remember, we've got a second channel called The General where you can watch great replays without any commentary whatsoever. Thanks for watching.